I know I may have promised this before, but on this transfer special, I really am going to try and behave. It should be a short one. Hello and welcome to part 168 of It's Coming Home. I'm Kev, and coming up on today's episode we have our traditional end of season review and transfer special, but there shouldn't be a huge amount of transfers. We don't have a lot of money to spend. I think I already know who the striker I want to bring in is. We've got a bunch of youngsters I want to bring in, and that's going to be that, unless we lose any of our players. If this video is longer than 25 minutes long, that means we lost someone big and I panicked and did something dumb. I hope that's not what's happened. We'll start things off with the season review stuff though, and as you can see, in the season he was replaced and then forced his way back into the team. Saidi has also forced his way into the home overall best 11, 161 games for us now. So our all-time best 11 is now Saidi, Wearmouth, Rogers, Sands, Gregson, Harrison, Bishop, Sawinski, Manu, Kano and Matondo, with a bench of Civita, Proctor, Perry, Stanley. Just Mick Powell now. Apparently he can't have a knighthood once he's retired. And then Lee and a Camo. So it's slowly starting to look a little bit more sensible again. No room there for Dean Morris or Sir Anthony Harris, but they are both about to retire, so maybe that will force them back into the reckoning. Good to see Sands in the back four. I don't know why Rogers is still in there though. We've had much better defender. Why is Lee on the bench but Rogers still in the team? Rogers was only here on loan. He never actually played for us permanently. Yes, he played for us for 4 years, but it's a weird one. The where are they now? We don't really need to chase down as many people these days. Matondo and Bishop are two that are still playing. Do we find about... How does this work? So the one's still with us. Lerick Fernandez, Manu, Kano, Sands, Lee and Akamo. Wearmouth is still playing for AEK Athens. Those two Coke cans that were next to me were flabbergasted. But he's been at AEK Athens for 6 years now. Ollie Steer is playing in Germany, age 27, now playing for Bochum in the Bundesliga. I mean, to be fair, he's carved out a decent career in Germany. Chardney Matondo is playing for FC Utrecht on loan from Genoa, and never really scored goals to the same level he did in his original loan spells with us way back when in the Championship. Carl Bishop only left us at Christmas, and he's playing for West Brom, where he played 16 games. I mean, that's more games he played for us for ages. Philip Harrison is at Spal, and I am always considering bringing him back because he's homegrown and we haven't got many of them. Alan Rogers we just looked at, he's still in the MLS. Gregson playing for Melbourne City now, so another one who's headed over to Australia. We've seen Lerick Fernandez go down there before, but Gregson had his 3 years at QPR, now playing in the A-League and finally getting some regular football again. Toby Humphreys still at Charlton, aged 33. David Sawinski still at Rotherham. He's been there a long time. Another one who might have come back, but he's been away so long now he probably won't. Proctor, Civita and Stanley have all retired. Let's just check in on Nathan Curry. I don't think we checked in on him last summer. Nathan Curry's a director of football, everybody. He deserves to come back. He only wants to come in as director of football. Look, Nathan. That ain't going to happen. We'll keep an eye on him. He's not coming in as a director of football. I would have brought him in as an under-18s coach quite happily, but he might actually retire now. We'll check on him again next summer. The end of season awards. Highest average rating, player of the year, Robert Costa, 64%, Mira second and Manu third. Goal of the season was for Costa. Let's have a look at it. Costa's been fantastic. We'll have a little... These cans... I've got like 4 cans of Coke still on the table and they're rattling and it's annoying me. So this is Costa. It's one of his free kicks. And, I mean, it's not even his best one, but he scored a lot of good free kicks this year. Costa got signing of the season for £73 million. Mira, young player of the year, still only 20. Team of the year, Powell in goal, back four of Sands. That's interesting. No room for Candemill. Sands at left back. That shows just how injured Candemill was throughout the season, constantly in and out of the side. Sands at left back, Dianzi, Lee, Mayer, Alves at the base of the midfield, Yamin and Cristiano ahead of him, so no room for the £93 million Zubancic. Costa behind Mira and Akamo, which is the strike partnership we were using towards the end of the year, so I wasn't crazy to drop Kano. And then top goal scorer was Costa on 18 goals, highest average rating Mayer, most assists for Mayer. I said in the last episode he had a quiet season again, but I mean it's only a quiet season in comparison to what he did the year before. I thought he got into double figures for goals that year. He only got to 7. I guess his European goals weighed in a little bit more fancy. Didn't play anywhere near... Again, similar to Candemill, spent a lot of the season unavailable. Only 20 Premier League games played. So hopefully we get another big season from him again next year. Alves best pass completion, most man of the match. Is an equal split between Mira, Yamin and Costa. Bodes very well for Mira's future. And the Naughty Boys Club is down at the bottom there. So Mira, still only 20, now considered the second best striker at the club behind Akamo. I don't understand how Akamo... I mean, to be fair, he's done a lot better than Kano in the end. But Mira, still showing as a 5-star potential player, currently operating as a Premier League player, could improve a lot in the future. 10 goals from 12 starts in his first season in the Premier League. He is going to be a big, big player for us next year. And hopefully next year will be the year where he establishes himself as a top striker. Season review. It was a good season in the end. We finished higher in the Premier League than we were expected to. We had that run through to the semi-final of the Europa League. Can't really complain about that at all. The home team of 2028. Let's see what this lot are up to. So the vast majority are still involved in football. One is retired, so Lerick Fernandez and Sir Anthony Harris still here. We already know about Wearmouth, Matondo, Harrison, Rogers. This was a good team. Mark McLeish now playing for QPR. So, I mean, he's, unlike Gregson, he went to QPR and has had a solid career there, which is good stuff. Nick Moss, remember Nick Moss, everybody, now playing for Hamilton. In fact, he's been playing for Hamilton for a long, long time. He's another one who's probably homegrown at club. Watson and the third, and Ross Wright both at Orlando City. Paul Perry playing for Dundalk. Did play against England for Ireland recently. So he featured in one of the England episode. Gregson we know about, Humphreys we know about, Sawinski we know about, Adrian Knowles still. I remember Adrian Knowles. I'd forgotten he existed. Now playing for Burton. He was supposed to be a superstar and it never really happened for him. Michael Wharton, I don't remember him. Oh yes I do. He was in on loan, wasn't he? Yeah, he came in on loan, then did his cruciate ligaments and was never the same. I remember Michael Wharton. Peter Teasdale, he was a right back. I remember him. He was the one who was competing with Gregson, and then they both went to QPR. And neither of them played. QPR's a weird club. And then Lee Bradley, who I think was a left back, is now retired, having left us, gone to the arch rivals Chester. How are Chester doing now? 22nd in League One. They never really managed to follow us all the way through, did they? They were with us all the way until we just pushed a bit too far and they started to tumble back down again. Squad dynamics, our leaders are Kano, Lee and Candemill. That seems about right. Captain and vice-captain, or is it the other way around? I don't even remember. And Lee up there as well as future captain material. He is officially a world-class player now as well. In fact, he's not showing as a world-class player anymore. He was, last time I looked. End of season team meeting. Plans for next season. We've got to be looking for Champions League qualification again. It's just got to be the plan every year now. We're going to be in financial ruins. The board are happy. Pre-season can start then, and I'm not confirming any transfers yet until I know which ones have agreed to come, and we'll bring in the best ones. What do I must respond to? Oh, Nathan Curry. Sorry, Nathan. That ain't going to happen. On the subject of Nathan Curry, though, we will just have a little look at the under-23s, under-18s to see where the Patreon lads are up to. So if we sort it by ability first to see if there are any who are nearing first team. It doesn't look like there are at the moment. They've been usurped by all these foreign youngsters. But if we have a look, if we sort that by potential, the last couple of youth intakes have been a little bit weak, which has been weird because we've massively upgraded our youth setup. But the best one we've got is Hughes, mate. No, he did come for our youth team, but didn't get a Patreon owner. I think the best Patreon youngster by potential is probably still Lad Baker, who has been in and around the first team squad. He's been on the bench a few times. He might, because we need him for the Champions League, he might stick around for a year or two. He is out of contract at the end of the year, so I've got to decide if I actually want to keep him. But he's the one who's closest by the looks at it. We need this youth setup to sort itself out. It said it was going to take a year or two to establish at a higher level, but we now have established youth recruitment, exceptional junior coaching, excellent youth facilities, youth level of 2. We should get a 5-star potential youngster come through that at some point. Patreon.com/LOLLUJO if you want to be the first to see it and nab them when it happens. Right, let's get back to the real business of this episode, which of course is sorting out some transfers. Hopefully not too many. Well, here we go, folks. Dean Morris has retired, and has he become a coach? No, he hasn't. He's a proper retirement. Like Mick Powell, he's just going to see out the last couple of weeks. I don't know why they do this. He could have got 40 grand a week for a couple more weeks until he actually had to retire. But just like I did with Mick Powell before him, and just like I will with any of the legends when they actually retire, I will read for a moment. Home defensive midfielder Dean Morris has retired from professional football. Dean Morris was born in Yaxley on the 6th of July 2002. In a playing career which spanned 19 years from 2018 to 2037, Morris made 448 appearances and scored 21 goals. Morris made his senior debut in the Evo Stick Northern Premier League Division 1 East, playing for home against Brighouse Town on the 11th of August 2018. Episode 2 of this series, I think that was. Morris scored his first senior goal for home, playing against Loughborough Dynamo on the 18th of December 2018 in the Evo Stick Northern Premier League Division 1 East. He made his England debut against Sweden in 2024 and went on to make 49 appearances for his country. If only there had been a way to get him to 50 appearances, like me being the England manager, for example. Oops. Dean Morris started his career with home in 2015, breaking into the first team in 2018, making a total of 69 league appearances, scoring 7 league goals for the club. Morris's Villagers team lifted the Evo Stick Northern Premier League Division 1 East in 2020, and in July 2020 he joined Rangers, making 17 league appearances and scoring 1 goal. They must regret letting him go as much as we did. In June 2020, he joined Preston North End on a free transfer, I might add, making 36 league appearances and scoring 3 goals. Morris's spell at Preston didn't last long, and in June 2023, he joined Huddersfield Town for £13.5 million, of which we didn't see a penny, making 141 league appearances and scoring 7 goals over 4 years. In June 2027, he joined Tottenham Hotspur for £47 million and made 159 league appearances and scored 2 goals. What it doesn't tell you in there is he made his debut in the FA Cup final, because the FA Cup final was late that year, and got sent off in that game. During his time with Tottenham, Morris's team lifted the English Premier League in 2032 and 2033, the UEFA Europa League in 2030, won the European Super Cup in 2030, the Emirates FA Cup in 2033, the League Cup in 2032, and in January 2035 he joined Blackburn Rovers for £8 million, making 17 league appearances and scored 1 goal. Morris's spell with Blackburn didn't last long, and in July 2035 he came home. They all come home. Making 9 league appearances in 2 years, Morris's Villagers team lifted the Charity Shield in 2035. 16 competition wins throughout his career. Although they all seem to be counted twice, so it's actually 8. It's by the by. Dean Morris, ladies and gentlemen. What a career. What a player. Most talented new gen you've ever seen come out of Tier 8? Maybe? You don't often get a player who comes for a Tier 8 team who goes on to make 49 England appearances. Thank you, Dean. Well, folks, it's the 9th of June and I've spent all of my money. There's your proof. No money. Oh, we're going to fail Champions League FFP. That's a problem. What happens if we fail that? A ban from the competition for the following season. Make a loss of no more than 4. Currently, the board project the club to make a loss of 69 million. Well, that's a problem. We need to sell a player and not buy any more then, don't we? Yeeks. So these are our new signings anyway. 1 player who's coming into the first team squad. The rest are youngsters and we're done. So Michael Appetite, 18-year-old French striker, 1.5 star current ability, 3.5 star potential ability comes in from Rennes. A lot of these are going to be ones that we've arranged previously in the past. I don't actually know which of these are ones I've just done. I guess he's one I've just done because he's still 5-star potential. Radovan Bogarski, 18-year-old Serbian midfielder. Can also play centre-back, attacking midfielder, 2-star current ability, which makes him pretty much almost as good as Manu, Kano, Ricardo. These are all players who played in central midfield for us last year, so not a million miles away from the first team, with 5-star potential, and because he's 18 will become homegrown at club. That's important. Osvaldo Francisco is another young left back. I mean, realistically, he's one that isn't really going to make it in past Aleph, past Chapman, who I haven't really shown you yet, but he's another young German left back who's ahead of this French guy on the pecking order. So, was he French or Swiss? Swiss. He doesn't really stand a chance. Gerhard Langer is an 18-year-old German defensive midfielder. Again, another one who looks like he's been a pre-arranged signing from long ago that probably isn't going to make the grade. And then Paterne Congolo is a striker who, similar criteria. He's Belgian. I mean, he's actually not far behind what we've got at the moment, but not enough potential to be a long-term thing. And then this is where we spent the bulk of our money, £29 million on Karol Sakwa, who is a 29-year-old Polish international striker, 3-star current ability, 5-star potential ability, and he's been brought in with a view to him being Mira's long-term partner. He's got lots and lots of potential, but the thing I like about him is he is a support striker, a creative support striker who will hopefully be our Dennis Bergkamp to sit alongside Mira as our Thierry Henry and create. That's the kind of partnership I'm trying to create. He just offers something a little bit different from the strikers we've got at the club at the moment. He's not coming in to score loads of goals. He's coming in to create loads of goals, although he did get 38 from 34 for Dortmund's B team 3 years ago. So he's got goals in him. In fact, in his career, 117 from 195. He might end up being our highest goal scorer ever. But they are our signings. Unless we sell someone, we're not bringing anyone else in. I'm looking at that financial fair play situation. Even if we sell someone, we probably shouldn't bring anyone in because we need to fix that problem. We don't want to be doing a 1-year ban from the Champions League because that makes it harder to win the Champions League, which is the goal of the series. Well, I didn't necessarily expect this to happen. Arsenal came in with a £40 million offer for Ricardo, and I thought, he's our backup defensive midfielder. We spent 20 million for him. It's not a disaster if he goes, but I want a lot of money for him. I'll ask for a silly amount, put it up to 70 in one lump sum, and they just went, yeah, all right. So Ricardo's going to Arsenal for £70 million, and we're going to try and buy a cheap replacement. This is all in aid of sorting. Why is that already sorted? Is that deal already gone through? How? Well, I wish I'd looked at that before I clicked OK. Let's do the same thing for... let's see if Shane Crazy works again. See if Liverpool want to give us £50 million for Sands. Let's fix our finances in one fell swoop. No. Well, then we can reject it. Don't know who Connolly is. Well, that's... Ricardo's gone. It's not a disaster because, like I say, he wasn't our first choice. It has gone a long way towards fixing any financial issues that we might have had. How? Now I'm confused because 2 weeks ago that was like minus 10, but these two were positive. How has that happened? Maybe that. I don't know. I think it's just not taking prize money into account. I'm not going to worry overly about that. The player we're trying to bring in... Excellent. The player we're trying to bring in to replace him is this guy. Just as a youngster. Not possible to purchase him at the moment. Excellent. He's not as good as Ricardo, but he's got potential. Obviously, Alves is our first choice there. So we're weakening the squad slightly, but helping the financial situation. Is that really the best we can do? We've only got 20 million of that 70 million to spend. I shouldn't be doing any more transfers. I promised myself I wasn't going to do anything stupid this summer. Tell me I'm not going to weaken the squad. He's got a transfer range. Is he coming to us? No, he's going to Monaco. He would have been handy. No, well, I guess we'll bring this guy in then. Can we ask for confirmation? I want him in by the 1st of July so I can show you my full squad as of 1st of July. So he can come in. I don't know why Ricardo leaving is going to be an issue for our fans. He wasn't a regular starter, and we've made a £50 million profit on him for a fringe player in like a year and a half. That seems like the most incredible piece of business in the history of the world. Here's his replacement. Send him on a language course. He's a wonder kid. Pascal Aulich, German, under 21 international. Yes, he's only got 2.5-star current ability, but got huge potential. And seems like the perfect understudy for Alves. Get them in a mentoring group together. I think that's a solid piece of business. And helps out with the old financial pickle. No more. Well, the last of the golden generation is done. I have to read one more time. Sir Anthony Harris hangs up boots. Home striker Sir Anthony Harris has retired from professional football after a glorious career with the Villagers. Sir Anthony Harris, who made himself a household name at Stadium by scoring over 150 goals for the club, retires in the knowledge that the Stadium MK fans will remember him as one of their greatest ever goal scorers. Sir Anthony Harris will now focus on his non-playing career. Home icon Anthony Harris was born in Yaxley on the 23rd of July 2002 in a playing career which spanned 19 years from 2018 to 2037. Sir Anthony Harris made 492 appearances and scored 206 goals. Sir Anthony Harris made his senior debut in the EvoStick Northern Premier League Division 1 East, playing for Home against Brighouse Town on the 11th of August 2018. Sir Anthony Harris made a flying start to his career, managing to score in his debut. We all remember that. He made his England debut against Ireland in 2037, nearly 20 years after his home debut, and went on to make 2 appearances for his country. Don't know how that happened. There must be a story there. Sir Anthony Harris started his career at Home in June 2015, breaking into the first team in 2018 and making a total of 74 league appearances and scoring 57 league goals for the club. Harris's Villagers team lifted the EvoStick Northern Premier League Division 1 East in 2020. After leaving Home in July 2020, Sir Anthony Harris moved to Shrewsbury, going on to make 17 appearances. A spell at Norwich beckoned, but Harris made just 7 appearances. During this time, he also spent time on loan at Southend United and Port Vale, making a combined total of 39 league appearances and scoring 10 goals. Sir Anthony Harris returned to Home. He came home in July 2025, where he made a further 306 appearances and scored 128 goals over 8 years. Sir Anthony Harris's Villagers team lifted the League Cup in 2033. After leaving Home again in July 2033, Harris moved to Orlando City to join the Turd in the MLS, going on to make 48 appearances. He finally decided to hang up his boots at the age of 35 in June 37 after 2 years of playing for Home, but there was no intention to leave the game he loved. So Anthony Harris's first non-playing role was as Home under-18s coach. In terms of personal accolades, Sir Anthony Harris has a single runners-up in the Championship Top Goal Scorer Award to his name. There you go. There's our new youth coach, Sir Anthony Harris. Excellent stuff. So 1st of July has rolled round and this is what the squad looks like. No, it's not. That's what the squad looks like. Interestingly, Xavi Rodriguez, remember him? He's back. He's back having scored a goal every other game in Serie A and finished 3rd in their top goal scorers charts. He's apparently, all of a sudden, as good as a Kamo and Mira. Kano's dropped down to our 4th best striker. Sakwa, the new boy, 5th. I think we might be about to sell Kano because Sakwa offers something a little bit different to Kano. Kano has been poor, really poor, for 2 years, and he's 27 years old, and he's earning a lot of money. I'm going to tentatively put some feelers out just to see if anyone's interested in bringing Kano in. I guess that's going to upset him and the whole squad because he's captain. Costa, Manu as our first 2 choices for attacking midfield. We have got one of our youngsters starting to come through though, Mendes, 18 years old, been here a year. He's going to be one who ends up homegrown. Give him another year, we'll be moving Manu on and having Mendes as our backup to Costa. Central midfield, we know we're good there. We've got Yamin, Zupancic, Alves, Cristiano, and then various other players who can also play in that position. And at defensive midfield, obviously Alves, Aulich, who's just signed as well, and then the rest of the midfield and defence can all kind of play there and cover if need be. I'm encouraged that Alves can play in central midfield. He's getting better at that, because if we do decide to bring in a couple of wingers, we have got a couple of young wingers, which I'll show you in a second. we can experiment with that 4-2-3-1, and the only one who suffers really is Aulich. Left back, Candemill, obviously the best. Aleph there as backup. Right back, we've got Mayer. My director of football is working on bringing us a backup to him in at the moment, either on loan or he's made an offer for a permanent one at the moment, which I'll show you if he comes in. Centre back, Lee is the best at the club. And then we've got Sands, Dianzi, who can also play there. And then Juranovic as a youngster with 5-star potential, who I think I've messed up having him as homegrown at club by loaning him out a couple of times. I did that before I realised what would happen, but he will at least be homegrown in England because he went to Villa and then Norwich. So he's 20. He'll be ready to push into that squad as your fourth best. We've also got Collins as well, who's not showing up on there, and then Saidi and Powell in goal with Montebell still at the club as well. So that squad is fine. Looking in terms of youngsters, if we just have a little look at the under-23s, head over here and sort them by highest potential. Bogarski we just brought in, we know about him. This is the right midfielder, right winger. I was looking at Uke Bakari, who can play right midfield. We could train him to play as an attacking midfielder. He was on loan in Spain last season and probably going to go out on loan again. I know it will stop him from becoming homegrown, but we're not playing a right winger at the moment, so we probably need to send him out somewhere where he's got any chance of getting any game time. And then we've got a couple who can play out on the left wing as well. Nkongolo, who just came in. Fugslang, who came through our own youth team. He can play on the left side of midfield as well. So we've got a few options. Realistically, if we decide to go down that route, we'll obviously spend some money. In fact, we just need to adjust that to accommodate future transfers. But I mean, the squad looks good. If we end up bringing in this right back up, that's England, not home. This is the right back that my director of football was looking at. Where is he? Which one is he? That one. Filippo Vandy. He's nothing special. He'll just be a backup to Mayer, but he's relatively cheap and got experience in Serie A and the Bundesliga and can just come in. He's as good as João Silva was last year, just as a backup to Mayer, and that will be a finished squad then. You should only have like 2 minutes of video left at this point. Right, we have our backup right back in. His name is Filippo Vandy. We looked at him before, 3-star current ability, 26 years old, just a perfectly adequate backup to Mayer. In other transfer news, where are we? That's not where I'm trying to look. There's a couple of our players who are on the way out, fringe players who haven't quite made the cut. I'm turning down loan offers for Rodriguez at the moment and Aleph, and anyone who I want to be part of my first team squad in a couple of years' time, I'm turning down loan offers for. But the big outgoing news is Nacho Herrera, who never quite made the grade. 23 years old now. He's, to be fair to him, almost as good as Powell and Saidi, but not quite, and he's never going to be better than them. He's never going to get in the team. His contract is up next summer. Man United have offered me 10 million plus a 25% percentage sell-on, not of profit, of actual future fee. So my theory is we win both ways. We get 10 million quid now that we could do with, and if he goes there and he's any good and then goes to someone good, then we'll get a big chunk of money in the future as well. But it was one who might have been, and really he lost out by signing at roughly the same time as Saidi, and we didn't need two really good wonder kid goalkeepers. So the one we got on a free is the one that we miss out on, rather than the one we spent 50 million quid on. It's just, it makes sense to me. This is another example of someone who we don't want to let out on loan. Stefan Esser came in last summer, actually did go out on loan to Derby, but he's still only 18, so we have the chance to save this when he's got 4.5-star potential ability. So we're going to keep him knocking around the club. He'll be ready to play in the Champions League in a year's time. Could have been here 2 years, then 2 years after that, he then becomes homegrown as part of squad registration type stuff. And if he starts to fulfil his potential, obviously that is awesome. The clear out of failed youngsters continues. Herrera has now gone to Manchester United for £10 million. Bernal, remember him, £6.75 million to Werder Bremen. He's actually a good example of just some decent business. Came in for £450,000, loaned him out for 3 years, got him his EU passport. He's got a Spanish passport now, after 3 years going out to Spain. Sold him on for £6.75 million. We weren't paying his wages at any point. We've just made £6 million out of nothing really there with this guy. He was never going to be good enough to play for us, but yay, we make some money. We're actually running at a net transfer profit this summer for the first time in a long time. When was the last time we had a summer with a net transfer profit? I know there's still a little way to go, but the last time we made a net transfer profit was the 2030-31 season, and that's because Leeds came in and took Couturier off of us. Whatever happened to him? Now playing for Sunderland. Didn't quite become the Premier League player he thought he was going to be. Although, to be fair, he did play a season in the Premier League for Leeds there. Now solidly, firmly a Championship player. But that, yeah, it was the year he went. Oh, and remember, we went and bought a load of players that weren't any good because I got excited because I had the money, and then the turd did the dirty on us. I remember that season. But that was the last time we did a net transfer profit. It's the 20th of July. The new season starts in like 2 weeks. There's nothing else I want to spend money on. And even if I did, we've got no money to spend. We've got 2 million left in the transfer budget, no spare wage budget. I think this summer is going to be known as the one where we started to sort the finances out. I just hope I haven't negatively impacted the team to do it. I'd still like someone to take Kano off my hands without any need to make a replacement. To be fair, if I could sell Kano and Rodriguez for value, that's about £75 million worth of player based on their current value. I don't think we need either of them. We've got Mira, we've got Akamo, we've got the new guy whose name I can't remember, the Polish lad who we've just bought, and we've got Mercier. That's 4 strikers. That will do. But no one wants Rodriguez or Kano. And I've got a sneaky suspicion that if Rodriguez sticks around after having such a good season in Serie A last year, finally having his breakout year where he scored lots of goals, he might just come back into our team and be our top goal scorer this season. So I'm less keen to get rid of him, but Kano can definitely leave. Sakwa, like I say, I want him as someone who offers something a little bit different. He might be a 1-year experiment, but he's going to be in the 4 regardless. And I could quite happily have the 4 as Akamo, Mira, Rodriguez, Sakwa, or Akamo, Mira, Sakwa, Mercier, and let Kano and Rodriguez go. But no one's after these 2. But we could make some serious money there if someone would just make us some offers for those players, which they did when they were any good, but now they're not. Seems no one wants them anymore. Few more bits and pieces going on. Couple of loans, one by my director of football, one by me. Director of football brought in Alan Baron, a 25-year-old Argentinian centre back with 17 caps. This signing frees up either Dianzi or Sands to leave. Dianzi wants to leave, but nobody wants him. Sands doesn't want to leave at the moment, but has for most of the last 2 years. Haven't offered him out yet, because I think I'd rather keep him and let Dianzi go, just for the flexibility of having him be able to play at left back as well. But that deal is to then free up money to buy a right winger, if we can get rid of Dianzi, because the other signing we brought in, this is my loan signing, we have a left winger. Dragiša Djuric, 24-year-old Serbian international, loads of potential, not yet fulfilled said potential, which is why he's only here on loan, but he was on loan at Newcastle last year, had a very good year, and that's the left side of our pitch sorted. In light of that, Mercier's gone out on loan, because I think there's a good chance, if we can find a right winger, that we are going to switch to the 4-2-3-1 this season, which if we have a look at the team report, at the moment, both Kano, Rodriguez, Akamo, they can all go out onto the right wing if need be, whereas Mercier can't, and he's not even getting on the top 5 of the loan strikers. So Mercier can go out and have another season on loan somewhere. We've already ruined the chances of him being homegrown by loaning him out previously, so it's not a big deal that we've done that. But we can't really do anything more unless we lose a centre-back or a striker. I'd happily let Rodriguez or Kano go, or both. I'd happily let Sands or Dianzi go, because we've got Baron, who's just come in, but we also have Juranovic, and we've got the other Collins, we've got Essa. We've got quite a few young centre-backs who I don't mind being our 4th centre-back. We don't need 4 Premier League ready centre-backs in our squad. I think that's one of the mistakes we've made in the past when it comes to youth development. So any 3 from 4 really of Rodriguez, Kano, Dianzi, Sands, I want 3 of them out, which should bring in 80 to 100 million pounds, which I can then spend on a right winger, and then maybe one more winger who can cover both sides. And then we've got this as an option, as like a plan B or the plan A, depending on how it works. We can still switch back to the diamond because Alves can still play there. We've still got Aulick who came in who can play there. It gives us a little bit more flexibility to switch things up, but he does rely on getting rid of those players first, and there doesn't seem to be much interest in them, presumably because we had such an average season. Well, we've hit deadline day. There has been more business. It's all kicking off on deadline day. Dianzi has gone to Manchester United for £50 million. Second player. I mean, Man United have given us some cash this summer. It's Arsenal who bought Ricardo. But either way, £139 million in now. There's also an offer just come in for Kano. Now, Kano's got a grumpy on because I've taken the vice-captaincy off of him. I know that's massively undercutting him, but we have a winger that we want, which isn't a sentence I feel like I should ever say. Where is he? This guy, Lucas Flager, who can be our answer on the right-hand side, but he costs £50 million. We can't get him regardless, can we? I mean, we are going to try and get rid of Kano, but I'm not going to sell him super cheap. We're not going to get the winger now, but we may as well get rid of Kano. Let's see if we can push them up towards 20 million quid. 20 million quid for Kano. I've fallen out of love with that man. We will, if as and when this deal goes through, we will have a look to see if there's any chance to get a slightly cheaper winger. There's just pretty slim pickings out there. It's not something we've been scouting for very long. Right, Kano's gone. We've got 3 hours left on the transfer window. What does that do to finances? That's going to give us like another 7 or 8 million because we're getting 30% of it. If we have a look at right wingers, because we've got an option on the left wing. Obviously, the likes of Akamo, Rodriguez, they're going to have to be our backups on the wing if we decide to go with a winger system. So, have we got any that we could get on loan? No. So, these are all the wingers. Nicholas Leighton. We need cheap ones. We need ones that are less than 53 million. He's Brazilian and unlikely to get a work permit, I would suggest. Oh no, he's got 15 caps and he's an inside forward. Could we get this guy? Is it too late to rush this deal through? I do love an inside forward who's scored 2 goals in the last 2 years. How is that a thing? 13 finishing. 12 composure. How is he not scoring goals for Benfica? I don't understand. I'm going to try. If we can get him cheap. So, is he injured? There might not be enough time. No, we're just going to have to hope we can afford the one we're already negotiating with. There's no point trying to rush that one through. Will we be able to afford the wing? Candamil's grumpy that Kano's gone. Mira, go sort that out for me. There's a good boy. You can't. Okay, let me sort it out. I have sorted it out. So we've got no unhappy players. We've got £21 million in the bank. Where's that? I can't remember how much is up front on this deal. 19.5 million. Have we got enough to get Flager in? I guess this is how we find out. We can. Somehow we can get him in. I don't know how, because that doesn't seem to work out. But we have our £53 million right winger. It's all been thrown together at the last minute. I think we've still made a net profit this summer. But it's going to be a little bit closer now. Give him a squad number. So now we have 2 options. We have a plan B. I don't know which one's plan A and which one's plan B yet. Svetic wants to go out on loan. Is he one of the ones we're trying to develop? Actually, to be honest, there's Collins, Juranovic, Essa all ahead of him. He can actually go out on loan if they're going to pay his wages, because he's on a lot of wages. We don't need him to be homegrown. They're not going to pay any of his wages, so stuff him. Right, what's finances looking like? Finances are good. We're within all budgets. Did we make a net profit? Comfortably. Team report now looks like this. So, we have a first choice winger on each side. Rodriguez and Akamo as backups. We've got Akamo, Mira, Rodriguez, Sakwa, all as options up front. Obviously, Sakwa is there as a second striker option for when we do the diamond, which we will still do. Alves can play in midfield or drop back to be the defensive midfielder. We've got solid defence. Beron steps up to partner Lee, probably Sands, Juranovic, Collins, all as backups. I mean, it's a squad that now allows us to have two options. We've got a 4-2-3-1 that we've been training all summer. The diamond we've been using for years. We can now finally play two different ways. I now just need to go away and decide which way we're going to use against Blackburn in tomorrow's video. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.